Hi there, all my crafty friends. I'm Donna from Mason Creations, etc. Welcome to my channel. If you want to check out different types of crafts, you are in the right place. I've had a few followers request a video on coasters. I'm going to make 2 different types of coasters today. So if you're ready, let's make a mess. I'm going to make a coaster using a ceramic tile that you can get at any home improvement store. And I'm going to make one out of this MDF set that came from DecoupageNapkins.com. They even come with a really cool stand. All the products you're going to see me use today came from there as well, and I'm going to tell you all about them shortly. Let's start with the ceramic tile. The tiles have some small areas on each side that protrude. They're used for spacing the tiles when you put them on a wall or floor. I'm going to sand those off so my edges are flush. They actually sand off pretty easily. If you don't wish to see the captions, you have the ability to turn them off. Tap your screen, go into the settings icon in the top right corner, click on captions, then turn off captions. And I'm making sure to wipe off any of the dust that's on the tile. Where are you watching from? Let me know in the comments. It's fun to see what cities and countries you are all watching from. I'm filming from Las Vegas, Nevada in the United States. I'm wiping the surface of the tile off with an alcohol wipe to make sure it is clean of any dirt, dust, or fingerprints. Now I'm going to give both coasters a coat of Polyvine multi-surface lacquer. I'm making sure to get the side edges of the ceramic tile. This is a great product. It's great as a primer for any shiny surface, such as ceramic tile or glass. I'm going to let this dry for 2 hours and then give the tile a second coat and let that dry for another 2 hours before moving on. I'm using a dead flat finish because I'm using it as a primer. I'm trying to get rid of the shine. The flat surface gives any paints or glue a great surface to adhere to, and will keep your paints from chipping or peeling. This is such gorgeous rice paper. I'm going to take a small detail out of it for the tile coaster. I cut it a little bigger than the tile, so some would hang over the edges. The first method I'm going to show you is covering the entire top of the tile with the rice paper. I'm going to use the multi-surface lacquer as my decoupage glue. This works amazing as a glue and is so much better than Mod Podge. I don't even use Mod Podge anymore. I strictly use nothing but Polyvine products for decoupaging. I brushed it over the top of the tile and not the side edges. Rice paper is so easy to work with and is perfect for a beginner. Then I brushed over the top with the multi-surface lacquer to make sure the paper is completely saturated with the glue, paying special attention to the edges. Now I'll let that set for about an hour or so and dry. This is completely dry now, so I'm going to sand around the edges to remove the excess paper. The sandpaper gives you a nice precision cut. You can't get that close by using scissors. Make sure you don't sand upward, only use a downward motion. If you're enjoying this video, please let me know by hitting that like button. And why not share this with a friend? Thanks for doing that. Now I'm going to use Polyvine Heavy Duty Wood Varnish as a top coat. I'm making sure to coat the sides and edges of the tile. I'll let this dry for about an hour. Polyvine makes several different formulas, and this one is heavily resistant to moisture and heat, which makes it perfect for projects that will be exposed to water and heat. All Polyvine varnishes are UV resistant, so you can put your creations in sunlight without fear of fading. I'm using a special paintbrush that is made by Polyvine specifically for their varnishes. It's wonderful and spreads the varnish out nicely, eliminating brush marks. I'm going to paint the sides of the tile a dark peach, which matches the color in the rice paper. I want the trim color to come up just a tiny bit on the top of the coaster. I'm laying down some painter's tape about 1/8 of an inch from the edge. I'll paint two sides, remove the tape, and let it dry for about an hour, and then I'll do the same thing with the other two sides. I'm using Pentart paint, and I have to say these paints are really nice. They go on so smooth and creamy, and they have great coverage. DecoupageNapkins.com has such a great selection of rice papers, as well as napkins that you can purchase one at a time. Rub-on transfers, molds, modeling clay, stencils, stamps, scrapbook paper, and much more. Over 7,000 products. They carry 3 lines of paint: Dixie Belle chalk mineral paint, clay mud paint, and Pentart paints, and a wide range of colors. They are wonderful to work with and send out their orders fast. They are truly your one-stop shop for craft supplies. They offer several automatic discounts when checking out on orders over $50, $75, and $125. Subscribe to their newsletter by entering your email address, and you'll receive 10% off your next order. Make sure you check them out. I'll leave you some links in my description box below. I flip the tile over, and I'm painting about 1/4 of an inch in with the matching dark peach paint. I let the paint dry for about 30 minutes, and now I'm using the heavy-duty wood varnish on the entire tile, top, sides, and bottom. I'll let that dry for 2 hours. I put 3 coats on the top, letting it dry for 2 hours between each coat. The varnish is completely dry after 16 hours, but don't use your coaster for at least 48 hours. I would actually wait about a week to make sure it's completely cured. I'm putting some self-stick felt on the bottom, and I'm cutting it just a little smaller than the tile. That's why I painted that 1/4 inch of peach along the bottom. All the products and tools I use and recommend in my videos have been tested by me. I won't suggest something that I haven't used myself. Each product will be listed in my description box below, and will have a blue link to make it easy for you to find. Any of the links I provide are safe for you to click on. I'll be making some future videos with coasters. The next one will be a tutorial on decoupaging a tile coaster with a napkin instead of rice paper. You'll want to subscribe so you don't miss it. Now it's time to work on the MDF coaster. I'm giving it a coat of Dixie Belle white chalk paint, and I'll let that dry for about 30 minutes. I'm using a sponge, which creates a nice eggshell texture. I love this rice paper with all the fruit on it. Once I decided which image I'm going to use, I removed it from the rest using my water brush. This time, instead of covering the entire coaster with rice paper, we're only going to add the small image. Now I'm going to remove as much of the background as I can. You want the least amount of background paper as possible for easier blending. I'm using Polyvine Heavy Duty Wood Varnish as my decoupage glue, and I'm brushing it on the MDF coaster. I carefully laid the picture on the wet glue. Now brushing the glue on top of the image from the center outward to remove any wrinkles or air bubbles. And I'll let that dry for about an hour. I don't want just a plain white background on this coaster, so I'm mixing up some paint that will blend with the picture. I'm using a little bit of green, white, and yellow to get the perfect color. I'm working on some great spring projects for the upcoming weeks. I'll be doing some decoupage, 3D air dry clay, and mixed media canvases. I am going to do a series of reverse decoupage clear glass plates with some really different and fun techniques on each one. You'll want to subscribe so you don't miss any of them. I added some water to thin it out. I want the finish to look a little bit like watercolor, so I'm dabbing the paint on lightly around the picture of the fruit. This is giving it a very light hue of green in a dappled effect. I'm making sure to get the paint on the white edges of the rice paper so it blends seamlessly with the image. When decoupaging, always start with a white background and add color later. Any color behind your image may make it look muddy. I used that same green to paint the back of the coaster. Now to give this coaster a little touch of elegance, I'm going to add a gold edge. I'm using a sponge to dab the gold paint around the edge. Some of the gold gets on the top of the coaster and some gets on the bottom, which is the beauty of it. Pentart makes the best metallic paints I've ever seen. They have such great coverage that a second coat is rarely needed. Now it's time to seal this coaster. I'm using Polyvine Heavy Duty Wood Varnish. I want this protected from heat and moisture, so I'm adding 3 coats again, just like I did with a tile coaster. I'm letting each coat dry for 2 hours before adding the next coat. I'm sealing the top and the bottom of the coaster, and of course I'm using Polyvine brush so I don't get any annoying brush strokes. Instead of a full piece of felt, I'm adding 4 little felt feet on the back. You want to add felt of some kind on the back of your coasters to protect your furniture, either the full piece of felt or little round feet. Don't forget all of the wonderful products I'm using today: the MDF coasters, the rice papers, all the paints, Polyvine varnish, and even the Polyvine paintbrush can be found at my favorite place for craft supplies, decoupagenapkins.com, and I'll leave you links in my description box below. I put together a playlist of some other tutorials you may enjoy. Click the picture on the right to be taken directly to that playlist. Thanks so much for watching, and I hope you enjoyed this video. Don't forget to subscribe by clicking my picture in the top right corner so you don't miss any future videos.